have you join us today as we celebrate the feast day of Our Lady of Guadalupe. Our Lady of Guadalupe is a title for Mary, the mother of Jesus. Today, we remember the true story of how she appeared to Saint Juan Diego. This is the story of a great miracle that happened almost 500 years ago in Mexico City. Have you heard of Our Lady of Guadalupe or Juan Diego? Well, for Mexicans, these two names remind them of one of the most beautiful stories of God's love for his people. He wanted his mother's visit to Mexico to be preserved in a very special way, and for Juan Diego to be her messenger, the messenger of hope. Juan Diego lived at this time. He belonged to the poor class of the Aztec Empire. He and his wife were among the first natives to convert to the Catholic faith. When they were baptized, they chose the names of Juan Diego and Maria Lucia. Years later, when his wife died, Juan Diego went to live with his uncle, Juan Bernardino, to keep him company since he was older. Juan Diego was already 57 years old when the story began. Every Saturday and Sunday, Juan Diego went to Mass in the city of Tlatelolco. He got up very early before sunrise to be able to get there on time, since the church was a long way from his uncle's house. Can you imagine walking barefoot for several hours to go to Mass? That's what Juan Diego did. Also, the mornings were very cold, and he had to wear a tilma or blanket to protect himself from the cold. And one winter day, on December 9, 1531, on his way, something amazing happened. We hope you enjoy watching and listening to this amazing story. Thank you.
Suddenly, Juan Diego heard the beautiful voice of a woman calling his name.
My Juanito, my Juan Dieguito.
Juan Diego saw a beautiful maiden who looked like an Aztec princess. Her dress shone like the sun. Everything around looked like precious stones. And the ground where she was standing shone like a rainbow. With a tender voice, she said,
Listen well, my little son, the youngest, my Juanito. Where are you going?
My lady, my queen, I'm going to your little house in Tlatelolco to do the things of God.
Listen, my little son, the most beloved, that I am the ever-Virgin Mary, mother of the true God, for whom one lives. I wish that a temple be built for me here, where I will be a mother to all who come to me. I will always listen to his crying, his sadness, and his pain. And to do what God wants, I want you to go to the palace of the Bishop of Mexico and tell him that I am sending you as my messenger to make this request. Tell him everything that you have seen and heard.
Good morning, Juan Diego. How can I help you?
Good morning. I've come because I have a very important message for the bishop.
Very well. I'll take you to him. Follow me.
Juan Diego recounted the Queen of Heaven's message to the bishop, detailing all the things he had admired and heard. Unfortunately, at the end, Bishop Samarga could not believe what Juan Diego had told him and said,
My son, come back another day to listen calmly. Tell me everything again.
How did Juan Diego feel when he saw that the bishop did not take seriously what he had said? Juan Diego returned to Tepeyac Hill, where the Virgin Mary was waiting for him.
Lady,
And very
my-
sad, he told her,
Lady, my little girl, I went there where you sent me. I gave your message to the bishop, but he did not believe me. That's why I beg you to send somebody important to believe him. I am nobody. I am worth nothing.
Listen, my little son, the smallest. Rest assured that I have many servants, but it is you that I have chosen. I ask you to go again tomorrow to see the bishop, and on my behalf, tell him my wishes again.
The next day, very early on a Sunday, Juan Diego got up to go to church. After Mass and Catechism, he went to look for the bishop.
Hello, Juan Diego. I see you have returned too.
Yes, I need to talk to the bishop again.
Okay, come with me.
Upon arrival, Juan Diego gave him the message again. Bishop Samarga asked him many questions to make sure he was telling the truth, but he still couldn't believe him. Finally, he told him,
Juan Diego, I cannot do what you ask of me. I need some sign to know that it is really she, the Mother of God, who asks for it.
Of course. Just tell me what sign you want, and I'll go ask the Queen of Heaven for it.
what faith Juan Diego had. The bishop, seeing that he did not hesitate or doubt, dismissed him. Juan Diego ran with joy to break the news to Our Lady. She thanked him for everything he had done and asked him to come back the next day because he would give her the proof that would convince the bishop. What sign would that be? What would Juan Diego have thought at that moment? After this, Juan Diego went home. But when he arrived, Juan Diego realized that his uncle was very sick.
What's wrong, Uncle Juan Bernardino?
I don't feel well, Juan Diego.
Don't worry, Uncle. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to look for the doctor right away.
Juan Diego took care of his uncle all Monday and never returned to Tepeyac as he had promised. At night, Uncle Juan Bernardino told his nephew,
My dear Juan Diego, please go find a priest so that he can confess to me and give me his blessing before I die.
Yes, Uncle. I will go right away.
On Tuesday, December 12th, still at night, Juan Diego went out to look for the priest. As he approached the Tepeyac Hill, he thought it would be better to go to the other side of the hill so that the lady would not see him and delay him in his task. But what would be his surprise when he saw that the Mother of God was coming down the hill towards him? How did Maria know that he would not go see her? Why did Juan Diego think that she would not notice?
My son, the smallest, where are you going?
My little virgin, my most beloved child, do not be angry with me. My uncle is dying, and I must go quickly to look for a priest at your house in Mexico. My lady, forgive me and be patient with me. The first thing I will do tomorrow is come in a hurry.
My dearest son, let nothing frighten you. Do not fear this disease. Am I not here? Am I not your mother? Are you not under my protection? Am I not your source of joy? Your uncle will not die now. Rest assured that he is already healed at this time. Now go up, my son, to the hill, and there you will see that there are different flowers. Cut them up, put them together, and bring them to me."
What beautiful and affectionate words Maria said to Juan Diego. And to think that he didn't want to meet her. Juan Diego realized the great love that Mary had for him, and without hesitation, he immediately went up the hill. Upon arrival, Juan Diego could not believe his eyes. He was amazed to see the variety of so many wonderful flowers.
Flowers? What a scent. Now is when it's colder and there are strong frosts. This is not a place for flowers to be growing, especially not in December. I feel like I'm in paradise.
In a hurry, delighting in that heavenly garden, he gathered all the flowers, filling his tona, and returned to the Lady of Heaven. When he returned to her, she took them in her hands and placed them back on Juan Diego's cloak, saying,
"Son, these flowers are the sign that you will take to the bishop. Go and don't show anyone what you're wearing, only him. You will tell him in detail what I asked you for and what you saw and admired."
Juan Diego, happy, went to look for the bishop, sure that this time he would believe him. On the way, he enjoyed the delicate perfume that the flowers gave off, while taking care that they would not fall off. Arriving again at the bishop's house, he begged the servants to let him see him, but they paid no attention. Juan Diego had to wait several hours before being allowed to see Bishop Zamarga. Finally, arriving in front of the bishop, with immense joy, he told him,
My lord, I will gladly bring the sign you asked for. The Queen of Heaven told me to give it only to you. Here it is. Do me the honor of receiving it.
Juan Diego unfurled his white cloak, and just as the flowers fell, the image of the ever-Virgin Mary of Guadalupe, Mother of God, appeared. As soon as the Lord Bishop saw her, and all those who were there fell to their knees in astonishment. All were deeply moved. The Lord Bishop, with tears in his eyes, said,
Forgive me, my son. Forgive me for not heeding your request and doing the holy will of the Heavenly Mother. Please stay with us until tomorrow to show me where the temple needs to be built.
Our Mother Mary was not satisfied with sending roses to the bishop. She wanted her very image to remain among her children. The next day, Juan Diego, after showing them the place that the Virgin had told him about, went to see his uncle. Upon arrival, he was very happy.
Juan Diego, what a joy to see you.
Juan Diego explained to his uncle what had happened with the lady from heaven and how she told him that she would cure him. His uncle replied,
Is it true, Juan Diego? I also saw it just as you say. She asked me to go to Mexico with the bishop and tell him everything I have seen and how he had healed me. The Lady of Heaven wants her precious image to be known as always Virgin Holy Mary of Guadalupe.
Juan Bernardino was taken to the Lord Bishop to give his testimony. Juan Diego and his uncle stayed at the bishop's house until the construction of the Temple of the Mother of God was finished. From that day on, Juan Diego went to live in a small room next to the temple and spent the rest of his life dedicated to telling the story of the apparition of the Virgin to the entire Aztec people. Juan Diego died in 1548 at the age of 74. Juan Diego, trusting in the love of Mary, obeyed, and thanks to that, God gave us one of the most valuable gifts that we have, the image of his own mother. He has done nothing like it with any other nation, said Pope Benedict XIV. The message of the Virgin of Guadalupe fills us with hope because she tells us all, let nothing frighten you. Am I not here? Am I your mother? She takes care of you, and most importantly, she leads you to her son, Jesus. Juan Diego's cloak has not changed and can still be seen in the Basilica of Mexico City even after 500 years. Our Lady of Guadalupe, pray for us. Saint Juan Diego, pray for us.
Thank you so much for joining us today for the celebration of Our Lady of Guadalupe. We would like to thank Mrs. Juarez and all those who helped make this performance possible. As you leave today, we encourage you to share this beautiful story of Juan Diego and Our Lady of Guadalupe with your family and friends. Thank you and God bless.
So,